David wiped the sweat from his brow as he lifted the last cargo crate onto the transport platform. The air in the cargo hub smelled of oil, metal, and burnt circuits, a combination he had grown used to over the years. It was another long day, and the sun had already dipped below the horizon outside, leaving the city bathed in the soft orange glow of artificial street lamps. The hub's lights flickered slightly as if keeping pace with the rhythm of his exhaustion. David had been working double shifts for months. The first job at the cargo hub ran from morning to late afternoon, unloading and organizing supplies from interstellar freighters. The second shift began at the maintenance station, repairing everything from small domestic robots to city drones. Between the two, he barely had time to breathe, but his daughter Lily needed him. She was only 7 years old, but already clever, kind, and remarkably patient. Her smile was enough to make all the exhaustion worthwhile. Unbeknownst to David, far above the city in a sleek orbital station, someone was watching. Kailara, the CEO of one of the galaxy's largest corporations, observed the colony through a holographic interface. Her alien features, pale lavender skin, elongated limbs, and silver eyes, reflected in the transparent control panel as she leaned forward. She had initially been curious about humans' productivity for her corporation, but her attention had narrowed to one individual, David. He didn't know he was being observed. He moved with the same determination he brought to every task, lifting crates heavier than his own weight, carefully checking each label, and occasionally pausing to instruct a junior worker or correct a misaligned shipment. Kalara's sensors recorded every movement, every word, every small act of care. "Why does he keep going?" she murmured, more to herself than to her assistants. "He should have collapsed hours ago. No human should survive this pace." Her aides glanced at each other nervously. "They are resilient," one said cautiously. "But this is unusual even for a human, Kalara." She didn't respond, her attention entirely on David. He moved to a broken loading platform, his hands expertly replacing a jammed actuator. Sparks flew, but he worked steadily, shielding a co-worker from the errant arc of electricity. Kalara leaned closer, intrigued. "This is not just physical endurance," she said. "It is responsibility, loyalty, and courage." Back on the ground, David's shift ended with his usual sigh of relief. He collected his worn coat and gloves and stepped out into the cool night air. The city hummed with activity even at this hour. Delivery drones buzzed overhead, and neon signs in alien scripts glimmered alongside Earth languages. He made his way through narrow streets to Lily's small apartment building, keycard in hand. Inside, Lily ran to him with a wide smile. "Daddy, you're home." He scooped her up and hugged her tightly. "Hey, kiddo. How was your day?" "Good. I finished my homework and fed Mr. Fluffy," she said, referring to her stuffed cat, a gift from David's late wife. David smiled despite his exhaustion. "Good job, Pumpkin. You've been busy." After dinner, David and Lily settled into their small living room. He read her a story, but his eyelids grew heavy. He paused several times, fighting sleep because tomorrow's shifts would come faster than he could rest. Lily noticed but didn't complain. She had learned from experience that her father's work wasn't just a job, it was their lifeline. Meanwhile, Kailara's observation continued. She watched as David played a simple game with Lily, laughing softly as she solved a puzzle faster than he expected. The CEO's silver eyes narrowed in fascination. Even in play, they teach, protect, and guide. Every moment is purposeful. The next morning, David arrived at the maintenance station before the sun fully rose. The building was quiet except for the hum of machines. He greeted his co-workers with a tired smile, checking the day's assignments. The first task was a fleet of delivery drones with damaged propulsion units. The repairs were tricky, requiring precise calibration and careful testing. Hours passed and sweat dripped from his brow again. He barely noticed, his mind focused entirely on the machines. A junior technician dropped a tool, cursing softly. David bent down to pick it up, placing a hand on the young human's shoulder. "It's okay. Just pay attention next time. These drones won't fix themselves." Kailara's holofeed recorded everything. Her fascination grew. Humans were supposed to be inefficient, reckless, and self-interested. Yet here was a human who worked tirelessly not only for himself but for others, guiding, protecting, and encouraging. Around midday, a sudden alarm rang through the maintenance station. A conveyor carrying high-value cargo had malfunctioned, threatening to crush several storage containers. David's reaction was immediate. He leaped forward, adjusting the conveyor's alignment while shouting instructions to his co-workers. Within moments, the danger passed. One of the technicians, a young alien intern, stared at David in awe. You saved a lot of cargo," the intern said. David wiped the grease from his hands, shaking his head. "Just doing my job." Kalara's lips curved in a faint smile. "Doing his job," she murmured, "but saving lives without thought, this is extraordinary." That evening, David returned home once again, weary but undeterred. Lily greeted him with a handmade drawing, and he knelt to admire it. "This is amazing, kiddo. You're getting better every day." He tucked her in, read another story, and finally allowed himself to sit down in his worn chair. His apartment was small, simple, but it held warmth, the warmth of love, care, and perseverance. For all his exhaustion, David found purpose in every moment. Kalara's monitoring station floated silently above the planet. She had been observing him for weeks now, tracking not just his work but his life, how he interacted with the world, with his daughter, with friends and co-workers. She had expected to see stress, errors, and failure. Instead, she saw determination, creativity, compassion, and courage. Her curiosity turned into admiration, and admiration into something deeper, a realization that humans, at their best, were unlike any species she had encountered. They combined intelligence, emotion, and resilience in a way that could change entire systems, entire societies. Her assistants noticed the change in her demeanor. "Kalara, you've spent too much time on this human," one said. "You must focus on the colony's output. That is your responsibility." She turned, her silver eyes reflecting the stars beyond the station. "No," she said firmly. "This human shows us what we have underestimated. We cannot ignore him, not his world." The night passed and the city below carried on. David slept for a few hours, knowing he would rise again to face another day of double shifts. He dreamed briefly of Lily laughing, of repaired machines running smoothly, and of the quiet satisfaction of work well done. And far above, Kalara continued her watch, realizing that one human, one ordinary father, was extraordinary enough to challenge her understanding of the galaxy. By the end of part 1, the stage is set. David's life is exhausting but filled with love, resilience, and courage, while Kalara's fascination with him has grown into admiration and a desire to understand humanity firsthand. Their worlds are on a collision course with lessons about endurance, compassion, and unexpected heroism waiting to unfold. David woke early the next morning, muscles stiff and body aching from the previous day's double shifts. The city outside was already alive with activity. The hum of hover vehicles, distant shouts from marketplaces, and the soft clatter of maintenance drones moving in precise patterns. He rubbed his eyes, stretched, and thought of Lily sleeping peacefully in her room. She deserved the best he could give, no matter how tired he felt. He grabbed a quick breakfast, simple food, nutrient bars, and a cup of synthetic coffee, but it gave him enough energy to face the first shift. As he walked to the maintenance station, he noticed something unusual. A new delivery drone, sleek and unlike any he had seen before, hovered silently above the streets, observing him. He paused for a moment, adjusting his coat. Maybe it was one of the corporation's experimental units, he thought, but something about it felt different. Above in the orbital station, Kalara watched him directly now, not through multiple feeds, but with a discrete device she had deployed near the city. She wanted to see him in real life, in his natural environment. David moved with determination and care, repairing malfunctioning drones and helping co-workers with tasks that required both skill and patience. Every action seemed intentional, deliberate, and yet instinctive, a perfect blend of human resilience and ingenuity. Kalara's fascination deepened. She realized she had underestimated humans entirely. They were not mere laborers. They were creators, thinkers, and protectors. David, in particular, represented everything she had never considered possible in a human. Later that day, David received an emergency call from the cargo hub. A malfunction had caused a container of volatile materials to become unstable, threatening the nearby district. He didn't hesitate. Even after a long morning of maintenance work, he sprinted to the hub, ignoring the burning fatigue in his muscles. When he arrived, the situation was worse than expected. Smoke billowed from the container. Alarms blared and co-workers shouted instructions over the chaos. David's mind worked quickly. He directed a group of junior technicians to secure the area while he approached the unstable container. Using a combination of tools and sheer ingenuity, he managed to stabilize it just as a spark threatened to ignite the materials. Kalara's sensors recorded everything. The courage and precision he displayed were extraordinary. One small mistake could have resulted in disaster, yet he remained calm, focused, and effective. She realized she had never seen anything like it, not in any species she had observed across the galaxy. By evening, David returned home, exhausted beyond words, yet with a sense of quiet satisfaction. He checked on Lily, who greeted him with a drawing she had made during the day. "Daddy, look! I drew our city," she said proudly. David hugged her tightly, letting himself feel the warmth of family after a day of relentless work. Kalara decided it was time to intervene directly. She descended from her station to the city under the guise of a business inspection. She appeared in a sleek humanoid form, her alien features carefully concealed with a light holographic skin overlay. David noticed her immediately, standing tall and confident in the hub's office observing operations. "Hello," she said, her voice calm and authoritative. "I am Kalara. I am here to evaluate the hub's efficiency and its workforce." David, tired and wary, nodded cautiously. "All right, I'll help you with whatever you need." He didn't fully trust her, not because she looked alien, but because her sudden appearance felt deliberate, almost calculated. Kalara followed him throughout the day, watching as he repaired machines, instructed co-workers, and managed small crises. She witnessed his dedication firsthand, and every action reinforced her growing respect. At one point, a minor fire broke out in a storage area. David didn't panic. He directed nearby personnel to safety, grabbed a fire suppressant, and contained the blaze before it could spread. "You are remarkable," Kalara said quietly. More to herself than to David, he paused, glancing at her. "Excuse me?" I said. "You handle everything with calm and skill." "It is impressive," she replied, maintaining her composure. David shrugged, brushing off the praise. "I just do my job." The next morning, a more serious incident occurred. A rogue maintenance drone went out of control, careening toward a crowded market district. David sprinted after it, calculating its trajectory while issuing commands through his communicator. The drone's sensors were failing, and a collision could have been catastrophic. Kalara monitored the situation from a discreet location. She felt a strange tension. She had seen skilled operatives before, but David's ability to improvise under pressure, combined with his concern for others' safety, was human. Extraordinary human. David managed to disable the drone just inches from the crowd, avoiding disaster. Market-goers cheered, co-workers applauded, and David finally allowed himself a small, weary smile. Kalara approached him, stepping out of the shadows this time. "You saved many lives today," she said. "You put yourself at risk for others." David wiped his brow. "I just did what anyone should do." Kalara studied him, her silver eyes reflecting the city lights. "No, not anyone. Humans rarely show this level of courage and thoughtfulness." "You are exceptional," David hesitated. "Why are you really here?" "You're not just inspecting the hub, are you?" She smiled faintly. "I wanted to see you, to understand why humans are different than what I expected. And now I see it. You are more than laborers, more than workers. You are innovators, protectors, and resilient beings." For the first time, David felt a flicker of curiosity. "And what do you want from me?" Kalara considered her words carefully. "I want to help. I have resources, technology, and knowledge that could ease your burden. But I also wish to learn, from you, what makes humans endure, care, and persevere against overwhelming odds." David thought of Lily, of the countless nights he had pushed himself beyond limits. "I don't know if I'm special," he admitted. "I just do what I can." "That is what makes you extraordinary," Kalara replied softly. "Not in spite of, but because of your choices, your heart, and your determination." Over the next few weeks, Kalara worked closely with David. She discreetly provided technological upgrades to his workstations, improved safety protocols at the hub, and even offered automated support for some of his maintenance tasks. David found himself with more time and energy to spend with Lily, to teach her, play with her, and simply be present. During this time, Kalara observed him not only at work but at home, learning from him how humans balance love, responsibility, and perseverance. She noted his patience with Lily, his ability to stay calm under pressure, and the quiet dignity he carried despite exhaustion. One evening, as the city lights reflected in the quiet apartment, David and Lily prepared dinner while Kalara watched discreetly from a window above. Lily turned to David. "Daddy, I like when you're around. You make everything feel safe." David smiled, ruffling her hair. "That's my job, kiddo. I'll always try to keep you safe." Kalara's observation turned into admiration, and admiration into understanding. She realized that humans were not simply strong or intelligent. They were capable of love, compassion, and courage that transcended logic. They could inspire, lead, and protect in ways that no algorithm or advanced species could predict. The story reached its climax when a major accident struck the hub. A malfunctioning cargo transport threatened to collapse a section of the building. David reacted instantly, issuing orders, manually securing critical supports, and evacuating co-workers. Kalara assisted by remotely controlling some of her technology to prevent disaster. Together, human ingenuity and alien technology averted catastrophe. After the dust settled, David sat with Lily in his apartment, exhausted but alive. Kalara appeared once more, this time fully visible. "David, I have witnessed something extraordinary. You are not just a human, but a symbol of what your species can achieve. Courage, intelligence, compassion, they are all here in you." David shook his head, a tired smile on his face. "I'm just doing my best. That's all any of us can do." Kalara smiled, her presence gentle. "And yet your best has changed how I see the galaxy. Humans are not to be underestimated. You, David, have proven that even one life, guided by heart and determination, can make a difference beyond measure." In the following days, Kalara offered David a unique opportunity, a consultancy role with her corporation that allowed him to continue his life on Earth while sharing human insight across the galaxy. David, initially hesitant, accepted, seeing the chance to make life better for others without sacrificing his family. By the end, the bond between human and alien grew, built on respect and admiration rather than obligation or fear. Kalara returned to her station, forever changed by what she had seen, while David and Lily continued their lives, strengthened by the knowledge that even ordinary acts of courage, love, and perseverance could inspire a new understanding across the stars. The galaxy, once distant and indifferent, now watched humanity with new respect, guided by the quiet heroism of a single father and the eyes of an alien who learned that sometimes ordinary people can be extraordinary.